So where do I go from here? I've been debating this a lot recently with my new diagnosis of bipolar, which is nothing new to me, but being diagnosed bipolar II is new as I can contextualize my experience. And that's a good thing. And it also kind of sucks, but it's giving me inspiration and it's making me have pause and question everything, really. I was a little bit over dramatic, but seriously, I've been thinking about stepping away from this whole platform for a little while. But seriously, stop sneezing. Oh my God. You know how hard it is to talk when you have like just something in your nose that's like tickling you and you just want to sneeze, but you can't sneeze. So you try to get through your sentence without having to do without trying. You ever just go away. You ever tried to go through a sentence so fast because your nose is really itchy, and if you don't get through it fast, you're just going to have to keep stopping and restarting because you got to itch the damn thing? No? Okay, well, that's me. Help me. That's not what we're talking about. My nose is a separate issue, but the bipolar, the channel, damn it. Maybe that is the issue, but my channel. What is my channel? Why am I doing it? All of these things are good things to question, and sometimes your life blows up a little bit and it makes you question things. Not that everything happens for a reason. I don't really like that statement, but I think everything happens. That's a fact. And we need to give it a reason. We have to give it meaning. Sometimes all the things go wrong, and even in my family, like everyone went through something at the same time. And usually like someone's good, someone's rough, someone can help, someone can receive help. But this time it was like every single person was in crisis at the same time. And when that stuff happens, things blow up. And you can get hopeless, which, you do, right? But you also get to move forward and you get a little bit more clarity because it's called rupture and repair. You can't repair something that's not ruptured. And if something doesn't rupture, you don't know what needs to be repaired. So this is a very simple place, this conversation here, this YouTube thing. In the grand scheme of things, I don't make money from it. I don't have a huge following. So it's not like I have all these people who are reliant on my content. It's always been something that I do because, not always, but recently it's been something I do because it's good for me. It's like this video audio journal, not super private, like my deep dark secrets aren't here, but in talking about it and communicating things, I sometimes help other people through that process, and I help myself every time that I sit down and make a video. And when I'm not ready to make a video, I don't do it. So that keeps me from being consistent. So do I step away completely? Never. I'll always post on some level here. I just don't know how often and what the topic will be. And that has been one of the things I want to talk about. I've had such a diverse set of interests, and part of that is bipolar, is this cycling through deep passions and deep hobbies. And for 1 second, I'm going to learn how to leather work, and then the next month, I'm going to learn for 6 months how to carve wood and become a psychologist and become a coach and become a filmmaker, become an author. All of these things are real visceral passions that I have for a period of time. Some stick around a lot longer: filmmaking, storytelling, writing, coaching, psychology. These are all basically things that have been consistent for over a decade, and much longer actually. Just I haven't really figured out how those show up. So my channel, I've been a filmmaker on this channel. I've been an Ironman triathlete on this channel. I've been a coach on this channel. I've been a book reviewer on this channel, and the algorithm clearly would have no idea what to do with me, and I totally get that. And I've seen other channels that are successful, and once you get to success, you can do whatever you want and still get a new audience. And it's not about a massive audience for me. It's getting the right audience here who wants to spend time with me and gain some value, whether it's maybe a smile, maybe learning something new. That's who I want to reach. And I realize I don't play the game very well. And that does sometimes eat at me, but I don't want it to, because that's not what I'm doing it for. And so that's what I'm saying, is really thinking about, why am I doing this? What do I want to share? What's the benefit of, I've shared my mental health in the past years ago. Do I do that again here? I was watching videos on YouTube about bipolar II and, helpful tips and living with it and what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And there's some obvious stuff, but one of them has said that journaling, starting a blog, YouTube, things like that are really good to do. And it's funny because sometimes I hear that and I'm like, oh, so it's not just me. It's actually I was doing something without knowing I was doing something that was sort of like medication. So medication is one of those things with bipolar II that has been scary, and I've been doing lots of conversations about it because, man, it's just spooky to see, like, if you don't get a dose right, the negative consequences. And I want to talk about that stuff. I just don't know the venue. So where I'm at right now is I think I'm going to rebrand the channel to Eric Beach. That's who I am. I'm going to have a between chapters playlist. I'm going to have a daily heroics playlist. I'm going to have a between episodes playlist. And And you can go to this playlist maybe and just watch the bipolar journey. You can watch the author, you can watch the self-development, creative resiliency stuff, but it's all going to be on the thing. And I know I'm going to have some videos that get 30 views and some that are going to get 2 views. And I know that in and of itself will limit my ability to reach new people. But at this point, I'm not really sure that's what I need to worry about. And maybe it is, I don't know. But suffice it to say, I am not going to go away. I don't promise regular postings. I don't know how I want it to all look, but I'm having conversations. I'm thinking about it and thinking about what I want to share. Not because it's necessarily super vulnerable to me, but it's out of respect to other people that know me. And sometimes people get really freaky when you share too much stuff. Like I've had conversations about my suicide attempt because I think it's really important to talk about mental health. That's one of my biggest passions, as I've said. But people are like, you shouldn't put that out there about yourself. I'm like, it's not a secret. I'm not ashamed that this is my reality. I've retaken that experience and given it meaning so that, maybe I can help other people and meet them where they are, because it's hard to help someone who's suicidal when you've never been there. It's hard to, even as someone who struggles with that, sometimes keep going. But the one thing I do know that keeps people going is conversation in shame-free environments, and I want to create that. So just to give you a quick rundown of things that I'm doing right now, I went to the VA in crisis mode several weeks ago. That's when I got all those panels done, tons of hours of, assessment, and was given the diagnosis bipolar. That has now been put to Bipolar II as they continue to work with me and learn more about my experience. I have, at this point, joined OP, intensive outpatient program, which is group therapy. And that's been going really well. It's a 3-week program and 3 hours a day, 3 days a week, with one additional 1-hour session with a therapist. And it's been great. I think I have a week and a half left. I'm somewhere around midpoint anyway. And that has been really beneficial. And that also gets you set up for where you're going to go, whether it's with medication, whether it's setting up with a therapist, which I do have. I'll be starting a therapy regular visit in December as the earliest I could get in, but looking at doing, I think it's called DBT therapy, which I've never done. It's dialectic behavioral therapy, I think. So it deals with a lot of, I have hope. Hope is good, but then when the hope falls through, it is bad. So it's living in this gray area of tension in between where both things can be true. Hope is good. Hope kicks my ass. So I'm looking forward to that because that's definitely a thing that I think of a lot. I didn't know that was a therapy, but I'm always trying to figure out how do I trust people and know that that can hurt me, but also I need to have trust. So there's this tension where I just feel like, just all riled up all the time. I will also say I'm very lucky being in Wisconsin because the VA in Milwaukee, at least for me and my experience, has been really great. So, if you're going to have a crisis and you're a veteran, Wisconsin, chef's kiss. Highly recommend, 10 out of 10. But there's also a lot of programs I had no idea about, and this IOP program teaches you all of these things. And one of the things that I've wanted to do for years is go back to school. I would have dreamt of being a psychologist for a long time, not saying I'll ever become one, but going back, finishing my bachelor's degree, and I found a program that was for psychology, a bachelor's in science, a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's of science degree, a BS degree, that's psychology and counseling veterans specific. So not that you can't translate that, but I have a big heart for my nonprofit that I used to serves veterans. I have a heart for mentoring groups. I've done it through Save a Warrior as a mentor. I've done it through K4 as a captain and a small group leader. I've tried to create it for my own coaching practice to serve veterans. I have some a handful that I still mentor, and they mentor me too. It's a two-way street and all these types of things. Giving classes, I have another one starting up in Thursday where I'm going to get to know the group. Been a peer leader in service dog programs and through Disabled Veteran. So I'm doing the work. It's always, my peer group that I serve, and then I branch out and help other people because I'm not going to isolate myself. But if I could find a program, and I did, that gets me a bachelor's where I could be able to counsel people and be a peer support at the VA or locally, that's kind of what I want to do. Because one thing with bipolar is it does stunt your career growth. It makes a lot of things hard to commit to because you're so volatile and you don't know how you're going to be. And it's hard for an employer to deal with sometimes. And I've lost several jobs for that reason and for other reasons. You know, it could be PTSD at that time mixed with it. I mean, it's a web, right? So I don't know what caused what, but it makes sense that I've had such a hard time surging forward, falling way back, being like this awesome, outgoing, really brilliant man, and then whoop, where did he go? He's in the shadows somewhere. That dude's gone. So I'm trying to figure that out, but do it very slowly because I get ramped up really quick, and I'm learning my triggers to go freaking hypomanic and go all in on stuff and then be like, shoot, I bit off way more than I could chew. And to me, that's only like a nibble to you. Not saying you don't have troubles. I'm saying you as in the person who can take a lot more stress and commit to a lot more. That, if I do it, and I've done it, puts me hypomanic and I stop sleeping, I overcommit, and then it only lasts a week or so, maybe sometimes longer. I think I've had like 3 months, but then I'm super irritable. You can't take me off task. And when you do, whew, I spiral deep into a deep depression. It's a very cyclical, and I'm learning the triggers and the flow of my own bipolar. So awareness leads to choice, and that is empowerment. So I'm taking that opportunity now to think about this channel and what I want to do. I'm pursuing a lot of things. I'm also trying to pump the brakes, but also take steps to surge forward from a plot point of scripting out what a podcast would look like, specifically with me and a veteran buddy who's bipolar 1, I'm bipolar 2, and it would be interesting to have that meet up, but I don't want to overwhelm him either. So a lot of conversations, a lot of ideas. I'm just trying to be very cautious of how quickly, like maybe 1 episode a month for that podcast that would go up on my channel as well. I don't know. I'm playing with it, and I care about so many things, and I care about them so deeply when I care about them, but it's a roller coaster. I tell this to everyone. Every mental health disorder, PTSD, bipolar, schizophrenia even, whatever one you want to pick, autism to a certain degree could be looked at this way, but only on part of the spectrum. There's like let's take that one off, actually, not autism. I'll say neurodivergence, because that is a little bit broader and it hits like ADHD, where I'm going. Every condition like that is basically normal brain functioning ramped up to 1,000. So when you're tired, you will hear and see things. Like your brain will get overtired and you'll see things. So that's the mechanism how schizophrenics might see things consistently. Or bipolar, you get inspired. You get joy and you like get really revved up, but it's very short and it doesn't have a huge drop off necessarily. You get depressed when something bad happens, but it doesn't stay for 2 months. It's not suicidal necessarily. But for bipolar, it's ramped up high and low, but it's a normal process. Dopamine, serotonin, it's all of those things that the brain is just a chemistry set, just ramps it up, and certain parts get way overactive. So we're not that different, but we're very different. But we can learn empathy through our own experience and then imagining, okay, so this is just the brain's function and it's going wild compared to the normal baseline neurotypical functioning. ADHD, hyperfocus, you can get hyperfocus without ADHD, but not to the level of someone with ADHD. And I think there's some peace in that I enjoy knowing that we can relate to each other, and hopefully we can understand that it's not a choice. The choice is in avoiding awareness and recognizing there's a problem or there is a need for you to address something. Awareness leads to choice. Awareness leads to clarity, and then it leads to even better choice. So that's the path I'm on, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm sure there's a bunch of other stuff. I just don't want this to go too long. This is kind of a reintroduction type video, just to let you guys know what I'm doing. And if you're here for that, I'd be so happy to have you around. I hope to make conversations that are worth your while. And even if you don't have bipolar, you struggle with mental health. I think everyone can admit it. And mental health is one of the harder topics to bring into YouTube. But I don't know. That's who I am in a lot of ways, as a guy who's passionate about mental health, who loves storytelling and finds marriage between those two. And I want to do a better job of showing that here. And there's just partitions that divide those two, and playlists are probably going to be the way I do it. And that's going to kill my channel. It's going to kill it. If you don't watch all my videos, that's fine. I want you to watch the ones that interest you. I'm not going to be offended if you don't. So stick around. That's where I'm going. Thanks for hanging with me as I figure all these out. It's been 7 years of YouTubing, I think, somewhere in there, and God knows if I know what I'm doing yet. Anyway, I'll be here. I'm gonna be me, and that's all I can promise you. So hope to see you in the next video, but until then, doing well, my friends.